Good day, farmers. Welcome to Abattoir. At this point in time, we would like to say the cost of raising our 10 goats. At this point in time, we are now doing the maths. For those who have not liked and subscribed to the channel, please like and subscribe to the channel as we give you as much information as possible about farming. At this point in time, the video that I had done earlier, now we are now expanding on that. And while I'm saying that we're now expanding on that, is now we're adding how much money do we get out of these 10 goats. At this point in time, we have talked about the Boer, the Kalahari, we have spoken about the Savannah, the local goats, and all other breeds that we do have available in Zimbabwe. As I said, I would give more information, and from the feedback I got from the first video, people want to know how best you can do it to make more money out of it, and especially the figures. We have now bought our 10 local goats and our one improved buck, this being a Boer or a Kalahari Red, one of the two. This is what we are looking at. The cost of our buck, anything, we are going to set this price at probably $350 for our maths to make sense. And our 10 does, we have bought each roughly at $40 each, which means $400, meaning in total we have spent $750 for our goats. These goats that we have bought, the does, let us understand one thing: they are ready for mating. We are not going to be looking for does which are still growing. No, we have looked for goats which are actually ready for mating, which have a good body length size, and which are looking very healthy. And we have actually not gone and just riff-raff looked for any specific goat, because when you do that, you are going to find yourself waiting a longer time for these goats to get to where you need them to get. Why I'm saying this is that we are expecting that by the time we introduce our buck, we have got 5 months before these goats kid for us. So we have got to make sure that we have got goats which are already healthy, ready for the breeding buck, and within 5 months, these things are ready to give us kids. So at this point in time, we have bought our goats, we have bought our does, or which I will not put in here, things like medication, salt, molasses, protein block, and anything else, and especially labor. Reasons why I never put these things into our working of our maths is because they are extremely variable depending on where you are, your location, and at what time where you have bought them, or transport, because some would have just probably got them from their neighborhood. Others, probably you need to spend a lot of more on transport. So these are the things that I do not put in, because I will not be able to give you a proper figure for those. Those that we have bought are going to be twinning for us. Means that each and every goat is going to give us at least 2 kids. But let us be honest, not all of them are going to twin for us. So we are going to say that 50% of those goats have twinned for us. That means that by the time we get to our first kidding, we have a total of 15 kids. And we are hoping that we have got zero mortality. This is going to be not possible, but we are hoping that we do not get any mortalities. And at this point in time, we are going to take these goats, feed them for 7 months until they are ready for market. We are going to be feeding our goats for the next 7 months, making sure that we, 1, castrate all the males. We are hoping, let's just say for this project, we have been gifted with 15 males. That means that we are going to be able to sell all these 15 goats. We have got zero mortality. Everything is as is, because automatically the minute you get the female, you're going to be wanting to increase your stock. But we are just saying, for this example, we have got all 15 males and we are going to be selling 15 goats. So for the next 2 months, we will make sure that we win them off their mothers, this baby, our kids. we now have our 15 kids that we have weaned off from their mother. At this point, after 1 month, we start giving them supplementary feed. This supplementary feed is normally a goat supplement that we would have purchased. So on average, on the first week, we are probably giving, after 1 month, when we give this supplementary feed, we are giving them 100 grams per day. And that means that in the first week, we are roughly giving our 15 goats 3 kgs daily for the kids. And then as we then increase our feed, we then probably go to 300 grams, which means that we are going to be now at 4.5 kgs per day. At this point in time, we then probably split our feed once in the morning and once in the evening. We are only focusing on these 15 kids. It means that we have got our mothers, but these mothers, we are taking care of them and feeding them so that they are getting ready for them to kid again for the second cycle. That means that after 2 months, we need to make sure that those mothers are ready to go into heat for them to again get serviced to produce the next batch of kids that we want. So we are making sure that we have given them enough food. We make sure that we're giving them enough clean water. We're making sure that we are vaccinating them. We make sure that we give them an abundance of hay. These are the major things that we need to make sure that we give these kids for them to grow. Now, let us go into the maths. Goat feed is roughly about $19 per 50 kgs. This means from the number of weeks that we need to give them is for 24 weeks at roughly, that means that we need to give them roughly about 32 bags of feed, of growing feed. This means that we're going to spend close to about $608. Hay bale, we are roughly working with 2 bales, but at the same time, you need to find ways of supplementing this hay bale by finding grass that is cheap, or even up to a point in time, cutting your own grass to feed these goats. So we are roughly saying that each bale is roughly about $3, meaning that every day we are giving them 2 bales, which is roughly 48 bales. But this is definitely the part where you need to find ways of doing this at a much cheaper rate, because you need to make sure that whatever bales are inside your goat house, they are consumed. Once it is finished, you're not going to say, just because it is finished, I should not give them more. You should give them more, because the more they get, the more they eat, and the more they grow faster. So we are looking at roughly about $144. Here is where I'm just going to roughly put things like medication, salt, protein block, and other things that we are not looking into, and I'm just going to give it roughly a $50 cost. At this point in time, that means that we have got it $802. If you have noticed in all these workings, I have not also put a labor cost. Reasons why I have not put a labor cost is that now the person who has been taking care of those 15 goats is still the same person who's now taking care of these kids. So therefore now there is a split between them taking care of those kids and taking care of the adult goats. And at this point in time, this person will now be making sure that they are concentrating on both these dual functioning of the farm, and especially of these goats. This is now an improved goat. Normal goats here is normally about 20 to 25 kg, if you're good enough, to 30 kgs, because these ones are the ones that you have not been feeding on corn and, as we say, a supplement. But these ones you will be feeding them on supplement and making sure that they do not walk long distance. If you're not careful, a goat can easily walk 10 kilometers every day if you're not careful. And once they start walking they are now burning all that food that they're consuming into, because they will be using the energy up. So you are trying to make sure that they do not use that energy up by moving, and they are confined in one area. And if they need to move, they are not moving more than 3 kilometers from where they need to go and feed, if you're going to give them grass fed. But if you are doing them pen fed, this is what you will need, and you will need to make sure that, especially on the hay, there is a lot of feed. So we are looking at trying to get these kids to a position after 7 months to about 40 to 45 kgs live weight. That is our target. Now, there is scenario number 1 and scenario number 2. First scenario, we are going to get these things to this weight, and then we are going to be selling them as live. We have sold them as live, as is. You are going to be the person who's negotiating with people. You're going to say that my goats are anything between $60 to $80, and then people will you will then negotiate, and let's roughly say you have started at $80, you have ended up at $70. So for these 15 goats, you have managed to get them all to our 7 months, each at $70. We are going to get $1,050. That means that we have made a profit of only $248. That is scenario number 1. Scenario number 2 is we are taking these goats to slaughter. If you go right now into TM, look at the price of goats. The price of goat per kg is anything between $7 to $12, depending on the market, but at present, that is roughly the price per kg for goat's meat. But you will also not be able to sell it at that figure. We will then talk about roughly how much you'll be able to sell your goat meat. Now, scenario number 2. At these same things, now I have to add transport costs, roughly to take them from where they are to the abattoir. If I don't have my own transport, but still, that transport that you have that is personal, you still need to put fuel and what other things that you have put into it. Then we have a slaughtering charge. So for the transport, we have said roughly about $100. The slaughtering charge, each goat is going to roughly be $10. That means that for our 15 goats, that's $150. Clearing and transport, this means that this is what you're going to pay your veterinary fees and police fees to get the paperwork ready for you to be able to transfer these animals to a slaughter. This will also vary on location and where you are, but let's roughly say $30 for those fees. Food and the bales and the medication, all this thing is going to come up to about $1,082. That is our total cost for these things to go to slaughter. At slaughter, we are hoping that when they have been slaughtered, our 40 to 45 kgs, each one, the carcass weight is going to be about 32 kgs. As I say, this will now just vary on how big they've managed to grow fast or if they've not been able to grow fast, but we are looking at 32 kgs to getting these goats to this weight. So it means that for 32 kgs, each 15 of them, that means a total of 480 kgs. The insides, yes, the insides of our goats, we do sell them. We do get a revenue out of them. So we're roughly saying about 4 kgs from the insides, which gives us about a good 60 kgs. That means that our carcasses that we have managed to get a total of 480 kgs at, we are roughly going to sell them at $4 a kg. That means $1,920. The insides, which is about 60 kgs total, we are going to be roughly selling them at about $1.20 per kg, which comes up to $72. That means in total, after we have done all this process, we are roughly looking at $1,992, meaning that there is a projected profit of about $910. So there you see 2 scenarios with different outcomes. Scenario 2, where you have got them to the correct weight and you have sell them to an abattoir and you have an agreed price for it, you will find that it is more profitable to get them to the abattoir than to sell to ordinary people. Reasons being is because at the abattoir they give you a fixed price. And as I said again, this $4 depends on availability, one, two, the market trend at that given time, and is your goats in demand. So if you also then be able to sell to other people who want these goats, you will actually make more profit. So please understand that goats do make money. And as I said again, economy of scale. I have talked about 10 goats, starting with 10, because I believe that is a number that people can really be able to pay. After that, you need to then be able to say to yourself, are you able to afford? But start off with 10. You see, by the time these 10 have gone to market, you should be ready for your next kidding of your goats. So, in conclusion, what am I saying? Do I do goats to sell to ordinary people? Yes, do it. If you are going to say to yourself, it's going to be difficult for you to take them to market or to find an abattoir for you, you still do make market. Do I take my goats and take them to an abattoir? Yes, do that, because it means that you are going to get a much more better price selling per kg than for you to sell them per individual goat. Either way, one of the two has a profit. Because if I was to say to you, these are local goats and I have just not improved these goats and I am selling these goats as they are, trust me, I would probably not even get these kind of figures, due to the fact that the amount of money that those goats, the kgs that these goats get as local goats is not much. If I get them to 20-25 kg, I would have really worked extremely hard. But by improving it with these Boers or Kalahari Red breeds, means that they create a much more bigger body frame, which is much more profitable to you. So, to all those who have not liked, those who have not subscribed, please do so, as I can try and give you more information. And I hope to those people, I have helped those people who wanted to know how much money do you make out of those 10 goats. Thank you and have a good day.